So here we have a overview from the outside, from the anterior portion to the posterior portion. And as you can see, what we can see here is we can see our uterus and we can see our rectum starting up here. From the uterus, we also can see out here on both sides, so you can see the round ligament reaching to the anterior side, which is then connected towards the labia majora. If I turn this now slightly, as you can see, we can see the fallopian tube connecting towards the ovaries. The ovaries are these more yellow widening areas here. On the top of the fallopian tube, we can visibly see the fimbriae. The ovarian, the ovaries here, or this ovary, is connected via the ligament, the ovarian ligament, at the uterus. If I now take this and open it up, and we want to look at both of these halves. So as an overview, we can start again from the outside. We can see the labia majora, followed by the labia minora, and the labia minora covers this whole area, also referred to as the vestibule. Within the vestibule, we have on the anterior side the clitoris, and we only see a very small part of the clitoris. It actually widens, not visible here. Then we have the urethral orifice with the up going towards the bladder. So this is our bladder up here. And then we're going towards the posterior side, towards the vagina. The vagina is a muscular tube which connects the vestibule upwards through the vagina towards the uterus. We're starting the uterus with the cervix, which is the entrance areas to the uterus. And then we have, as you can see with the coloring here very nicely, we have 3 layers within the uterus. The most inner layer is the layer who's shed off monthly, the so-called endometrium, this light pink. The more beige, brownish coloring is the myometrium, which has a lot of smooth muscle, and as you can see, it's the thickest layer of it all. And then on the outer area, we have what's called the perimetrium, which is actually, when you look very closely here, you can see there's a fold inside, and this fold is part of our perimetrium, reaching all the way around and covering the upper area. Now, also here, when I pick it up again for in the front, this frontal overlay, which is above our fallopian tube, this is referred to the fundus. So that's the fundus of the uterus. And this is the body of the uterus ending into the cervix. Also visible here, we have the pubic symphysis on the front line. And then you can also see a little bit when we look like here, but it's white and white, that makes it hard. The covering, this is our broad ligament area. So this is where the peritoneum folds back on itself, coming down as the broad ligament. When I connect these two halves again, and bring it visible to this side, you can see a vestibular bulb. This is a vestibular bulb, which is part of the clitoris, which also get engorged during the sexual act. Here far on the back, even though it looks tiny, is the greater vestibular gland, which is not marked from the inside, but actually opens very close to the vagina on this area here. We can also point out a few things for the urinary system. As I said already, we have the bladder here on the anterior sides, just below the uterus. You can see the rugae of the bladder inside. Even when you look very sharply inside here, you can even make out a little bit. No, I actually can't make it out. Forget. And then we have the urethra reaching out also into the vestibule. This was done now with the more milky looking light.